with Matt Reeves' project, who knows where that'll go.
Well, who does Matt Reeves hire normally? He has what, Franco?
Watch, it'll be Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis, completely CGI. And he'll probably fill it too. But yeah, even for 95 and the time and all that, I still think the Val's performance, it carries, it stands up. And even I'll go there. Even Chris O'Donnell does okay in that role, despite being too old, because no teenager looks like that. How old is he? Like, okay, he can ride a motorcycle. He's at least, 16, I guess?
Yeah.
But there's no way that kid needs There's no way he needs like an adult to adopt him. That doesn't make any sense.
He's 18. He's easily he's 18. He's got to be. Maybe Batman was just like, hey man, I'll take you under my wing.
Because we don't know his age in the movie. It's just sort of implied, right? Like Commissioner's like, he's got no one else. Somebody needs to take him in. Bullshit. That kid's over like 20. I mean, he'd be fine.
He could join another circus. I mean, aside from the morning, I guess. But I do like that the Graysons were straight up heroes. I mean, they really took it to the gang. I mean, they died, but they saved a lot of lives.
Yeah.
I like that scene.
After we got gratuitous close-ups of them in action in the air, and I'm just like, that's not even the actors. Those are definitely stunt people, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. That scene, of all the things to nitpick in a movie, I do think the sort of shot where he finds his parents on the floor it's well done for that kind of movie and that tone, and I appreciated that.
I mean, they were diving after people with guns. Like, they risked their lives to save thousands.
Yeah. No, I like that scene.
I do think that's weird when Val just jumps down on the floor and starts sidekicking henchmen.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I guess to his credit, he did try to save
at the circus. Yeah.
So he was throwing caution to the wind, which I don't know if I agree with as a character decision on Batman's part. I think he takes it a bit more seriously, but who knows? I think whatever, in the moment it worked.
I do have to say that Val throws a sick sidekick.
Yeah.
It's on par with Dolph Lundgren's front kick.
I mean, that's another thing, because when the part I was talking about with the guy going, man, Batman, Batman does one of those. There's a moment in it where they try to emulate very clearly the Indiana Jones Raise the Lost Ark moment with Indy and the swordsman, in that way that this guy's like flicks and Batman just sort of kicks him in the face and walks away. You know, even as a kid, you look at that scene, it's very obvious that's not Val Kilmer. So I don't want to give Val too much credit, as much as I do enjoy his performance, but I don't think that was his doing, unfortunately.
No, but when he was in his suit and tux, I watched him, and he did throw a sidekick.
All right, I'll give him that then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not good with front kicks. Maybe he's good with side kicks.
I would think that it would be easier to do a front kick, but what do I know? That suit is really restrictive.
I feel like a front kick, you could really have a chance of blowing out your hammy. A side kick, you have more of a base. And that's more probably hips and a little bit more flexibility. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can't do any of that, so I could.
Adam on the street asking questions and throwing front kicks?
You want to see me do a front kick?
I do think that, I do have a note in here, and I was making fun of it earlier, but I thought Val and Nicole were good together. I mean, they just basically had to breathe at each other. But you could buy that they both were, like, into each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're both very attractive people.
Yeah. Let's see.
Also, one thing I always kind of resented, and I'm just talking about, like, characters from page to film. Like, I already talked about sort of the Tommy Lee Jones decision, which I still don't agree with. I think was way too heavy. The one thing that I think the first three movies, four, all the Burton Schumacher movies really failed to do was tap into the Commissioner Gordon character. And it's fine that they wanted to minimize it. It's fine that they didn't want to make it like a big bromance with him and Batman. That's okay, fine. But why did they need to make him such like a bumbling idiot? He was pretty much on par with Adam West, Commissioner Gordon, Chief O'Hara, sort of bumbling, they don't want to handle their own crime. And this is like, let's let Batman just do our job for us. And, even in the beginning, right, when Nigma takes care of his boss and they're sort of, reviewing that surveillance footage, there's like, they're looking over the evidence, and he goes, yep, definitely suicide.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Sort of like, okay, even if it was suicide, like, what commissioner of the city says that? Like, even the part when they put the, bat signal in the sky and they're waiting for Batman to show up and he busts through the bat signal and it evaporates. And I don't even know how that happens, but he gives the thumbs up and he's like cheering his head off. He's foaming at the mouth. And he doesn't have to do anything. He shakes the cop's hand and is like, all right, time to go to bed. Like, who is this guy? He's the worst commissioner ever.
I mean, crime isn't good. And I don't think it's helping his police force by letting Batman take care of everything.
No, I mean, I guess he was a little bit better in Returns. He thanked Batman for saving the day, and he was like telling them not to open fire on him in Batman Returns when he was framed. But I feel like even especially in Batman and Robin, which this isn't about, but like he just comes off as like, I don't know, just this old clueless buffoon.
His constituents love him.
Yeah, well, he must have had a good tender. I don't know. You also, sorry, go on.
Oh no, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, you mentioned earlier like listening to stuff in the car or whatever, and I was like, oh, the first mistake you made, you weren't listening to the Batman Forever soundtrack, the single greatest thing to come out of this movie.
Oh no, I've been Spotifying it.
I had to get it on vinyl from Urban Outfitters, who put it out as an exclusive, and man, it still slaps.
Does it?
It does, and it's not just Seal. Because Seal's all you needed. Seal's all you needed, but it has U2. And it has Massive Attack, and Nick Cave, and The Flaming Lips.
And Offspring, right?
And well, the Offspring one I'm like not crazy about, but I think they play that for a fleeting moment during the neon like gang punk bit. But yeah, like the soundtrack is great.
And I'm looking here too. They had Method Man, the Riddler.
Yeah, and PJ Harvey, I think.
Yeah, this is PJ Harvey. Yeah, and Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
I like that song. It's a little goofy, but I think it was an appropriate song for Batman Forever.
I mean, just, Flaming Lips, Massive Attack. This is a Nick Cage. Like, that's pretty good. And
I don't want to say that it was the first of its kind. I'm sure I'm neglecting something, but it really does feel like sort of and maybe this is for worse, one of the first few like superhero soundtracks that put together like a curation, right, of like popular artists. Because you didn't get that, obviously, in the first two movies for Batman, which thank God we didn't. Because I know Prince put out a conceptual album that really wasn't like loved by Warner's. So this does feel like one of the first few superhero soundtracks that sort of went on to set the stage for like, oh, Daredevil's going to have Evanescence and all these like other bands.
Godzilla is going to have Wallflowers and Puff Daddy.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I don't want to say that it defined that era, but it definitely feels like one of the first few to really like get a lot of attention for just throwing a bunch of popular acts on an album that may or may not have anything to do with the movie.
Kiss from a Rose won 3 Grammys: Best Male Pop Vocal, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year.
As far as I'm concerned, the Batman Forever soundtrack deserves to win Album of the Year every year at the Grammys and the Academy Awards. It's just like the award is, and I'm waiting for it every year. The Batman Forever soundtrack.
Your fingers are just. It's like me with Deep Blue Sea winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Yes, retroactive awards should be a thing. I think just because they had a one year window of opportunity, it should not discredit them from future awards.
We need to bring back Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway to.
Yeah,
open up the thing.
They'll get it right.
I'll sneak in Deep Blue Sea and see what happens. I could do it.
Oh, totally.
All right, so how about this? Let's go put together some big green envelopes with question marks on it. We'll sneak Deep Blue Sea in there, and we'll find a way to get to the Academy. And when we do that, we'll come back and we'll talk more Batman Forever. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I just have a quick observation for you, Adam. When I was listening to all those clips today about Batman Forever, people were wondering why Batman just checked those envelopes or fingerprints, because the Riddler was using his fingerprints were on everything. And
it's interesting because, like, doesn't he, as a character, typically use gloves? I believe I'm going by comic references here, and I think he wears gloves on the whole. But you're right. I think when he was planting those envelopes, he was definitely not taking the care he should have. Which I don't know if he knows this about Bruce Wayne, or I guess he wouldn't. Maybe he didn't at that point. I can't remember the chronology of the movie. But Batman's a detective. He doesn't even need to be the greatest detective. Detective's going to use fingerprint, like whatever. So
Do you think Alfred gives out mini candies or large candies when trick-or-treaters come to their home?
I think if Alfred doesn't give out large candies and instead gives out fun size, he deserves what he gets.
Fun size what?
I think he deserves what he gets if he gives out the fun size, because you're living in Wayne Manor. You're going to tell me that they're going to go cheap on candy?
Yeah, so he's handing out. That's why those kids go there. They walk a very long distance.
Yeah, and that's also why he got clubbed.
Yeah. Poor guy.
And then awkwardly moves the tray so they can go through the door. But yeah, it's also who falls for that? They go twick or tweet. Like, come on.
I mean, Alfred's a nice guy. He wasn't expecting that.
Clearly not. But like, how gullible do you need to be?
I mean, he does design weapons for a living, right? And he's always on the radio with Batman, so he's got to have a fear. Like, he's got to know there's crime out there in his house, and you'd think they might have a better security system.
Yeah, that's another thing. Never mind the door, but let's talk about the fact that when Dick comes, I don't even feel like calling him Robin. When Dick comes across the cave, which I guess he needed to do aerial acrobatics just to do before the door closed, all it does is say intruder alert, intruder alert. It doesn't really do anything. In fact, it makes it very easy. The computers are all like, welcome, sir. And the car spins up and it's like, hey, ready to go for a ride? Like, it does nothing to restrict him from, getting into the tech or knowing that, oh, maybe this is Batman's cave. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess it's just to say, hey, Bruce, get to the fucking cave before, this guy leaves alive. But it does seem like the security system is a little bit ass backwards.
I was worried a little bit about Gotham because he does take that out for a ride, and he comes across the Blacklight gang, and they're about to assault a woman, and there's a lot of them. There are a lot of Blacklight gang members.
Did you count? I can't remember, but it does seem like there were at least more than like 12 or 13.
Oh no, there's like 60.
What?
I guarantee it.
Then I gotta start talking about like the budget they put on like glow in the dark paint.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they funded that thing, but Commissioner Gordon, he's got to know. There's task forces who know about Blacklight Gang, right? Like there's a lot of them. Like,
hold on a second. I think you accidentally stumbled upon a bit of a conundrum. We're calling them a lot of things. We're calling them the glow in the dark paint guys, the Blacklight Gang. You tell me, does that need a blacklight to activate? Or is it simply glow in the dark? Because if it's blacklight enabled, we're talking about these losers hanging out in a back alley that is rigged with black lights.
That's what I think.
And ergo, anywhere else they go outside of that alleyway or what have you would render their paint completely moot. I'm hoping for the sake of practicality that it's simply like, I don't know, like a day glow type paint. And I'm not familiar enough with it to know, but it just seems like, yeah, the theatrics and the hoops they go to achieve them seem a little bit misguided.
Is there Dayglow paint?
I don't know. It seems like something that's a thing.
I'm pretty sure they use black lights to get that effect.
What a bunch of losers.
I mean, that's interesting. So when they're not in the black lights, then that means they kind of look normal?
I guess, but
that's
I think
smart then. That's smart, right?
Right? Well, you're going for one of two things, right? If you're completely dark and black, you obviously want to be concealed by the shadows. But if you're walking around like a damn clown like they are, like you're trying to intimidate, I guess. And it makes me think they also are in Batman and Robin because they have a small bit where I think they attack Bane and they throw some like equally glow in the dark chains around him and he makes quick work of them, of course, but they're in that movie for a hot minute.
So they help out, or does Bane let loose on them?
Yeah, he kicks their shit. He messes their shit up. But my point is, apparently Commissioner Gordon's so bad at this, like, I guess Batman by effect, that these guys are still running rampant in that movie. But I don't know. I guess they're not at the top of the FBI's most wanted list. These guys must be like real small time.
It's lawless where they're at, though.
I guess. But like, what's their end game, right? They're like stealing chicks off the street and being like, "Ooh, what are we gonna do with this girl?" Ooh.
I mean, they're very cartoony villains, but I think they're bad news. They got sticks and they know karate.
Also, not Robin yet. Dick was kind of holding his own, sorta.
Yeah.
Against all of them. And if you're getting your shit ruined by Dick pre-Robin, like, it might be time to go home.
Yeah. I was watching this movie, and the henchman's guns, Tommy Lee Jones's henchmen,
Tommy guns.
The Tommy gun. Oh, yeah. The Tommy bugs, eh? So all those guns had neon in them. The guitars and drums